Hey everyone, I'm here with Andrew Curtis. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, Jennifer.
Now, Andrew has a company called Brick Solid Brands, and we had worked with you. I mean, it's probably been about like 4 or 5 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's been about three or so years ago.
Three or four. Okay. And I mean, I really liked you revamped all of our marketing. I mean, we were changing like everything, and you did such a great job. But I was kind of creeping on you a little bit, and I noticed that you've really expanded your company. And I came across this 2020 marketing report. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I've tried to grow our business to be almost a boutique small business agency with, the Swiss Army knife for anybody. So if they need a website, or if they need graphic design or reputation management. And one of my goals of 2020 was to put myself out there on video more and share more content. And one of the things is basically the 2020 digital marketing trend. So what we see coming forward that is information for a small business owner, or maybe just somebody that's interested in this network, this vertical in general. Just wanted to give some more information
Well,
that we see
pretty
coming.
interesting just because like social media and all, I mean, everything, it's just so overwhelming, you
Sure,
know?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I thought like some of your tips were really practical. Like I liked I think I had heard rumblings that they were getting rid of likes on Instagram. What do you think
yes.
about that?
Yeah, so one of the future things that's coming is Instagram is toying with the idea of getting rid of showing likes to the public. So when you log onto your Instagram account, you'll still be able to see how many people like your post, but for the general public, they don't want everybody else to see that, because they found that it's starting, it's almost becoming a popularity contest on how many likes and engagement you can get on your post, as opposed to just posting good content. So the analytics and the data will still be there for your personal view so you can see it, but it will no longer be a popularity contest on who can get the most likes.
Well, I mean, isn't that what social media is about?
I mean, there is a point to that, but also it's just producing and sharing good content and being social. So, if you
You
see
know,
a post that,
it's good. So
yeah.
like how will it then like come up on the algorithm if it's not by like more people are liking this?
So that is something that is not entirely sure yet, how the algorithms are going to change. The most important thing with anything in social media is engagement. So getting people to comment, like is right now, but like it or share it, because when the algorithms see that a lot of people are commenting and engaging, they
Yeah,
say, well, this must be a really
right.
impressive piece of content. More people should see that, so then they show it to more people.
Right.
So it's yet to be seen how taking the like factor away is going to shuffle the algorithms. But as long as you're producing honest, real, authentic content, you'll be in good shape.
How do you keep track of all this crap and all the changes? It feels like they change it every day.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, social media is overwhelming. I mean, that's kind of the exciting thing, is it's never boring. Like, it changes day to day. It's like,
You're
as
so
soon
positive.
yeah, as soon as you, I mean, it's, you're not doing the same job every single day and it just gets repetitive. It's, going through and, seeing what's new and then adapting your strategies. So,
Yeah.
when Facebook first came out, you would post something and then everybody that liked your page saw it. You didn't have to, spend any money to get people to see it. And then Facebook became a publicly traded company and they're like, well, we got to make money somehow.
Right.
So now it's almost a pay to play type of thing. So if you want your message to get out there, either it's got to be really good, really authentic, where it's almost like a viral type of thing,
Hmm.
or you need to pay some money to get people to see it. So,
So, and that's where like I noticed that you guys are doing like some of that, like you can help with like the SEO and I saw in there some brand management too. Like, can you just explain a little bit about what
yeah, so part of social media is being social. It's voicing your opinions, whether you like them or not.
Andrew?
Yeah. So, and you've probably found that customer service is key.
Right.
And when I'm unhappy with Time Warner Cable, instead of calling Time Warner Cable up and saying, "Well, I hate how much this costs," I write it on their Facebook page, and then immediately somebody, you get better action that way. So part of our brand management is, with realtors, with politicians, with businesses, they are the brand. So they need to have customer service in person, over the phone, and then also on social media. So with brand management, if somebody, leaves a good comment on your Facebook page or your Google business listing page, you need to be responding, whether in a good or a bad way. So if somebody leaves you a great comment, thanks so much for your comment. Glad we could help you. Take care. Or if somebody leaves a negative, maybe they didn't have the greatest response, we would, we respond with that, immediately with some sort of, I'm sorry to hear that. I'd love to, get your name and let's reach out directly to make this right. That way on social media, when people see, reviews are important, they see all these great positive reviews and you're commenting, it shows that you actually care about the clients and customers you're doing with. And then also with negative ones, you're not hiding stuff. You're being abrupt, getting to the point and trying to make it right.
Yeah, because you can know, like there's no way that all these companies are all 5 stars like all the time. They're
Yeah, you can kind of see right through that and that's almost back to the like after likes thing, where you can tell when somebody is paying for a bunch of likes if they have no engagement, or if all of these 5-star reviews happen in one day.
Yeah.
I mean, social media and the internet's been around for a while, and people can see right through some of that stuff. So, being real and being honest and just accepting, what it is, I think is the best policy.
Yeah. So then you guys, it sounds like you do provide like some content too, but you're making sure that whoever your client is, they're being represented in a fair, equitable way online, that the reputation is intact. And then you're notifying them immediately, like, hey, you need to handle this.
Yeah. So when we first take on like a client, we'll come up with some sort of best practices on how to respond to either positive or negative reviews.
Okay.
Not so much a canned message, but almost like if this goes wrong, if somebody's unhappy with this service, we'll respond, and then we'll reach out to the client, as soon as we can and say, hey, just wanted to let you know this person had not so great of an experience with you. Here's the number to contact them. And we hand that over to you or the client, and then they would reach out to them and take care of that. If it's positive reviews, most of the time we just take care of the simple thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah.
We enjoy serving you, like whatever it is, right?
And every client's different. They might want to report at the end of the month and say, can you show me, what my reviews or what kind of engagement I had this past month, and we would send that over if they would request that. But definitely the negative reviews.
People like build their brand awareness, build up their likes on their pages and stuff like that too.
Yeah. So we do, like we mentioned before, social media is a big thing. There's so many different avenues you can go. We provide content, so we'll either write blog posts or we'll write organic content, and then we'll also do paid advertising. So vanity metrics is what I would call like, oh, I have 5,000 people that like my Facebook page, or I have so many followers on Instagram. They don't really tell you anything. It's all about engagement. So it's better to have 100 engaged people on your Facebook page as opposed to 10,000 non-engaged people.
And that's like a little bit of a switch too, because that's a lot. We've been talking a lot about that a lot, because it's like before you wanted to get like up to like a lot of friends, but now it's like, if they're not talking, then you kind of want to like get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's, having the most likes or followers in the world doesn't really mean anything if they're not really engaging with you online.
Especially for your business, because they're not going to buy anything or whatever. It's not helping and benefiting your business. You need them to like your brand and engage with the brand. And
the way you grow that is just through producing great content, authentic, being real and transparent. And getting people to like who you are instead of,
But it's just like hard to, as a business owner, it's like, we have to like run our business. Like, I don't have time to like do stuff all over social media that's like, clever and engaging and like, oh, it gives me a headache.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we try to help with, producing content catered to your market. So real estate, trends in the real estate, home values and all that kind of stuff. And then also working with the client and saying, try to pull the stuff out of them so it's less work on you guys. We produce the content. We post the content. We monitor it. We optimize it. whether that's putting Facebook ads out there that drive you to your website to where people can put their name and email to build your email database. We try to grow you as big as we can with whatever the goals initially were set.
So do you guys, when you first take on a client, are you guys looking at like their current engagement? Like maybe, the industry is like most people do real estate trends and that gets a lot of likes, but every time this specific client does it, they get no engagement, but they get engagement on like silly memes.
Yeah, so we basically, as one of the initial like kickoff calls, we would audit their social media. So we'd say, okay, here's where you're at today. Do you have a Facebook? Do you have Instagram? Do you regularly send out emails to your database? Is your website even set up to look good on a phone? Because if your website's not mobile friendly, any traffic you drive there is just, you're wasting money. You're spending money for no reason.
Right.
As people get to your website and then they'll bounce. So we kind of look at all of that stuff, and then we also talk with them and say, okay, what is your goals? What do you want to do? Do you want to be the most popular person on Facebook or Instagram, or do you just really want to make money? And if you really want, more transactions or whatever, then we say, okay, let's optimize all of your content to generate leads. So that's getting people to engage, getting people to put their names and emails, getting people to refer you, building up your reviews, because before you buy anything in today's world, you look at the reviews. So if I'm buying a new TV, I look at the different reviews. If I'm looking between realtors, I look at the reviews of past clients. So reviews are very important in today's world. And then we just try to come up with a strategy of how we best accomplish the goals that client's looking to get.
So are the clients then paying, like, how do they pay for it? Is it like flat or monthly plus like the ads? Because the ad stuff is extra, right?
Yeah, usually it's like a monthly retainer for, whether we're creating content or making, designs or anything. And then the ad spend, which is just the hard cost for, online advertising, whether that's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it.
Do you find that like as you're building your brand, your spend is like a lot higher than once you're there and you're maintaining it? Or do you build it and stop, or do you build it and go more?
I think the one of the biggest advantages I think with social media or digital ad spending is what works and what doesn't work just by data. So when you buy a billboard, a radio, or somebody will tell you, well, your message is going to be seen by 1,000 people a day, but you can't really see that because there's no way to track that. With social media advertising, you actually get to see, I spent $100. This got seen by 10,000 people. Out of those 10,000 people, 50 of them came to my website, and out of those 50 people, 2 people put their name in. And then you can actually track, like, my $100 got me 1 sale, or whatever that is, and you just can't get that with some of the other forms of advertising. So with social media, we do a lot of testing. So we'll throw out the same ad with 3 different phrases, or maybe it's the same verbiage, and we do 3 different pictures, and then we post it for a week, and we see what gets more engagement. If it's this one, then we move all of that money to this, and then we...
Right, that makes sense.
It's more of like you're just A/B testing initially, and then what really works is where you start funneling your big money.
And is it something like that is something that works, like when it works right away, right? Like you're not running it for like a month or something like that.
Yeah, usually most of them is 4 to 5 days. It's just kind of like a test period.
Okay.
Where you can kind of see. Another kind of tip before, if you know, like, I don't know what I want to use as an ad. If you look over your organic content, so your Facebook Lives or your photos or your videos or statuses, and you see like what got the most engagement just organically with your group.
Engagement is like comments,
likes, shares, anything that gets somebody to engage with your piece of content. So if they're on their phone and they hit a like, or they share it with their people, or they comment, that's what we would call engagement. And in your business Facebook page, you'll be able to see all of your past post and what the type of engagement was on each one. And if you see ones that, whether you shared a really funny meme of a house that had a really funny bathroom, or I know you like to do some of that kind of stuff, if you can see that was really good content that got a bunch of interaction, then you can say, okay, well, maybe now I want to put some money behind that and really get that out to everybody, because I already know it's going to work because it worked with this small group of people.
Do you guys work with doing funnels and stuff then too?
Yeah, so that, like, part of the thing was, making sure your website's set up. So if your website's set up so, you're going to attract leads, then yes. So whether that's ClickFunnels or Jobby or anything like that. We can set up, work with you on, you know, whether you're trying to sell a class or a book or more houses or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and what's good about my business is like sometimes I'm working in the real estate world, or sometimes I'm working in Sally's shop that sells cookies. Like it's just different
I would like to
things.
work in the cookie shop. Do you get free cookies? No. What is your take on? I've been trying to do a lot of like IGTV, but I don't actually understand it. So like, what is I can tell there's a lot of difference between YouTube and IGTV. Are they like competing, or are they the same? I don't want to sound stupid. Like, are they the same company? I don't even know.
No, I mean, no. Facebook owns Instagram. So
that's how come you can post from Instagram to Facebook.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like you're like, well, there's so many different, it's so overwhelming. There's so many different platforms. What should I be on?
Right.
My always rule of thumb is like Facebook is the largest. There's more people on Facebook than any other platform.
Okay.
And they own Instagram. So those two right there, I don't think are going away anytime soon. LinkedIn is really important. And then YouTube is.
Merge them?
What'd you say?
Do you think it would ever merge Facebook and Instagram?
No, I think they'll keep it separate. But now, even and one of the latest updates on Instagram, when the app first opens, it has the Instagram logo, and then at the bottom it says "from Facebook." Like they because I think Instagram is more popular with some of the younger people.
Yeah,
and that's something that you might also want to think about is who you're trying to attract.
Right.
If you're a ice cream shop and you're trying to sell ice cream to teenagers, then maybe in Snapchat or TikTok, something that caters to those people might be more important. If you're trying to sell houses to 40-year-olds, then Facebook might be your best bet. You just kind of need to know
kind of who your audience.
Yeah,
so
who your audience.
Facebook, Instagram, you said LinkedIn was the third?
YouTube and LinkedIn are kind of my four that I spend the most of my time in. Twitter's still around. I just don't do as much personally.
Okay.
But YouTube, something to know about YouTube is it's the second biggest search engine. So there's Google and then there's YouTube. And,
wow.
And I have 3 little kids and they spend all day watching YouTube videos. So you
3? For some reason, I thought you had like 6. I feel like when I see pictures of them, there's like a lot of them.
Oh my gosh. No, I have twins that are 2.5 and my son, my oldest is 4.5. So.
Oh, so only 3. Got it.
only 3. But yeah, they're YouTube. People spend so much time on. I mean, we don't even have cable in our house. We have YouTube TV, and so YouTube and video content is just as important, if not more important, than the other.
So, would you recommend then, if I'm doing like a lot of IGTV, maybe just transferring that over to a YouTube channel?
Yeah, one thing that I recommend to anybody, if you don't have, like I'm a big follower of like Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Gary Vaynerchuk is like the god in me. I love what he does. He's just got teams of videographers that film him all day long, and then he's got teams that take his content and splice it up. So all he does is talk, and he's got people that just makes thousands of pieces of content. But for the majority of people that don't have that, you're just like, how do I post on LinkedIn and Facebook and all of the stuff? And I would say do 1 or 2 of the platforms really well instead of trying to be everywhere.
Okay.
And repurpose content. And by what I mean by that is if you have your own podcast and if you film that podcast and you can take that podcast and you can break it into like 3 or 4 little snippets of content that you can post that link off back to your website.
Right.
That's how you do one thing and you got 5 pieces of content out of it.
Or just hire Brick Solid Brands.
Or just hire me and you film it and then I take it and I splice it up.
That sounds a lot better because I have actually tried to use like Headliner to do the audio of it. Oh my gosh. I would just rather make cold calls, and like just do what I do and like let you do what you do.
Yeah. One of my things my dad always would tell me is work smarter, not harder. And so for us, just small businesses and realtors and anybody just trying to, put themselves out there, it's impossible to have so much different content.
Yeah.
Film one thing, try to break it up into a bunch of different things until you get used to doing that. Film, do a couple Facebook Lives a week and then try to take those and bring those into things, or write one blog post and then, break them up.
Right.
That's what we're trying to accomplish.
So I'm curious about what you do for LinkedIn. I mean, the Facebook and the Instagram stuff makes a lot of sense, but like, how do you work with LinkedIn?
So like LinkedIn would be something like LinkedIn advertising is what Facebook advertising was 5 or 6 years ago. You
Okay.
get a lot more bang for your buck right now because they're still trying to like figure out their ad platform.
Okay.
So with Facebook, it's the largest online, social media platform. The ads are more expensive because there's just more competition. So with LinkedIn, it's relatively new. So you get more bang for your buck, and you can reach people by job titles. So a small business owner that sells B2B can target people in specific industries by job titles. If you're say for instance, I target small business owners. I use LinkedIn to put my messaging in front of small business owners. That's where LinkedIn, I think, is pretty
But
powerful.
you can't do like on Facebook, you can make a friends list, and let's say I have all my real estate friends, and I just want to do something like that's really just real estate related. Like nobody else is going to be interested in it. I can just give it to them. But on LinkedIn, it's like everybody or nobody, right?
Well, it depends on if you're doing like advertising, you can target your advertising to specific like job titles and niches. But if you're just posting like,
And
yeah, just straight content, then yeah, it's just the same type of, anybody on your list will. And what's interesting though is, I don't know the exact breakdowns, but a piece of content on LinkedIn lives for like 4 or 5 days. A piece of content on Facebook lives for like 3 or 4 hours. So
it's even that long. I would think 3 or 4 minutes.
I think on Twitter it's like 1 or 2 minutes. Like it's quick. So when you're judging like where you want to put your time, because time is money. Do I want to take a piece of content that I know might be seen for 5 days? I might push that on LinkedIn, or something that you work really hard on this graphic for Facebook and it's only going to be seen for like an hour. You want to, because I notice when I post on my LinkedIn, I get comments on a video that I posted 4 or 5 days ago.
Right.
And that's kind of, I assume that LinkedIn will eventually change that and optimize that stuff to be more like Facebook as they get bigger and their ad platform grows. But right now it's kind of like the wild, wild west. So, if you're not advertising on LinkedIn, if that market suits you, like B2B, then I would highly recommend looking into that.
So that would be something as part of like the consultation when you take on a new client. It's like, okay, you said you analyze kind of what they're doing now, and then you're like, okay, where do we want to go? And then it may be, maybe it's post 3 stories a day. Let's brainstorm some content. Or it's like, don't post any stories. Let's switch everything over to LinkedIn or whatever.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends.
It all just depends on what their goals and their budgets are. If you only
budget, no, just kidding.
if you like I just said, you want to at least do 1 or 2 platforms right, as opposed to just half-assing all of them. Okay. Gary Vaynerchuk will say you need to be on every platform everywhere, but he doesn't realize like little people like us we don't have the teams and the infrastructure.
We don't have people following us around just grabbing content.
We don't have like the level of we don't have the team that can support great content on all of those pieces.
Right. That makes sense. So an ideal client that you can help the most is, you said, a small business owner.
Yeah, small business owner. So I came from a big agency, and with a big agency, there's a lot of perks and a lot of not so great things. With a big agency, you're paying for huge overhead. So you got 50 employees, and you got big buildings and stuff, and all that stuff makes that budget, or makes their prices go way up. So I'm more of like a boutique agency. So somebody like a small business owner that they know, my grandson keeps telling us that we should be doing stuff on Facebook, but I just don't have the time to figure it out. I like working with those people because I like seeing somebody that knows that they've heard about Facebook and social media, but they're like, I've been doing business this way for 50 years and I'm just good at this. And you can help me that. And being able to take that small business and being like, wow, look how much better things are now that I'm online.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's like what you did for us. I was like, I don't even know how to turn on a computer. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then like once and then also just once seeing them like actually understand it, like, wow, if I like seeing you like doing video and stuff before, you're like, I don't have time for that. I got to call people. And you're like, seeing like how you can work smarter, not harder by using the tools that are in 2020 that, are different, and they're going to be different in 5 years. 5 years from now, who knows what will happen.
They're going to be different in 5 weeks.
Exactly.
Can you give us, I know this might be a big question, but like, can you give us an idea for like an ad budget that like a small business would expect to have if their goal was to get new customers?
So I would think that I would put between $200 to $500 a month for at least 3 months. Like it takes a little bit of time to really start pushing content out there to get your name seen. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to spend $50 on this ad tomorrow and expect like 100 people to say yes. So right. There is a part of being consistent, whether that's spending, $1 a day on Facebook just to promote yourself. So if you're a public figure or you're a realtor, putting yourself out there just so it's visible, $1 a day is a strategy that I use and other people use, where they're just promoting their page to the markets that they want for $1 a day just to get their name out there.
Okay.
I work with some politicians that are like, maybe they're not congressmen or anything like that where they really know who they are, but if they keep seeing your ads and they keep seeing that same name, by the time they get to the polls and they're like, I don't know who any of these people are, but I've heard of that person before, so I'm going to just circle out
right
from a brand awareness. But I would say between $200 to $500 for at least a couple months is at least a good ballpark. And don't spend it all at once. Take a bunch of different messages and test what works, because then by the time you get to the second and third month, you're going to be more confident on what you're putting money behind, that it's actually going to work.
How do you know that, well, I guess you would know that those ads were like working because the customers would come through the platform, right?
Yeah, so depending on what your objectives are, if it's to get people to a landing page, or if it's to get people to fill out a form on a landing page, or if it's just to get your video seen by 100,000 people, the data and the analytics at the end of your ad campaigns, you just log in there and you say, okay, this is what happened with that one. And then you just kind of, playing numbers. Like, this one got way more engagement. Why did that happen? Because it was a picture of a smiling person instead of a building. Like,
right.
It was the picture of a happy couple in front of a house that I was selling, as opposed to just a house that I was selling.
Right.
And so then I know, like, going forward, maybe I put a picture of, that, and so I know that that's going to work more. You're just testing what works and what doesn't.
So are you guys, it sounds like there's ongoing consultation about the different ads and stuff too. It's not just like a one and done type thing.
Yeah, so like I said initially, like, we're the Swiss Army knife. So everybody's got different levels of where they're at in their business. Some people might already have somebody on staff that creates their Facebook content or writes their blogs, and they're just looking for somebody to execute their ad campaigns. And then we execute their ad campaigns where we say, okay, give us $500 a month, and we start placing your ads, and they trust us to monitor the ads for what works and what doesn't work. So, we post it after 3 or 4 days, we check in on them and we say, okay, this one's not working at all. Let's get rid of that. This one's working great. Let's move that money over here, and vice versa. So
okay.
It depends on, what that client's looking for and where we are with our relationship.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, that was really helpful. I appreciate it, and some good tips too. Thanks for
no problem.
Coming on. It was good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Oh, see ya.